It is. Thank God it's Monday. TGIM, Michael Savage. I survived another weekend without the news. Here I am, Monday. Thank God. I don't know what life was like before radio, but I don't want to go back there, I'll tell you that. Now, what do the following have in common? What does Rush Limbaugh's wedding have to do with the Bilderbergers and have to do with Helen Thomas, Hitler, and a girdle? The answer is nothing, except those three stories are circulating in the mind of Michael Savage at about the same pace and about the same time. It is though I am the sun and they are the planets of my mind, and each of those planets is worthy of further inspection. So where shall I begin? Shall I begin with Hitler in a girdle, who I called on Friday Hitler in a girdle, and I was the first in the media to say she should lose her White House press credentials. Now, I want to be very clear. Michael Savage is very sensitive to issues of free speech, as you can well imagine. I never said Helen Thomas should be fired, nor did I say that Hearst should fire her. Not that they listen to me anyway. You know I don't exist just because everyone steals my ideas. Even Ari Fleischer must be a listener. I don't know who he is, but he must be a listener because I saw my own quote. He must be looking for a job in radio. I don't blame him. It's a good business, but it's too late. Anyway, the point is this. What is the point? The point is it's Monday and I survived another weekend. That's the point. So Hitler and a girdle, I said she should lose her White House press credentials. See, it's different if she was simply writing a column and she was a Jew hater or she was a bigot. She's entitled to be a bigot or a Jew hater. There are plenty of bigots who hate all sorts of people. There are black bigots, there are brown bigots, there are Asian bigots, there are white bigots, and then there are hidden bigots. It's part of the human condition. In fact, most people are racist. See, that's the funny thing that you don't understand, is that behind closed doors, virtually everyone has a race that they don't like and a race that they do like. And there's a ranking of races that they like and races they don't like, but they won't say it. So we're all overly sensitized when a woman comes along and says a thing like that, but she's not just a reporter. She has credentials to the highest office in the world, into the White House press corps. That's what I said. She's violated all the tenets of objectivity, if there ever were any. They had to go out the window. I said they should strip her press credentials. So that was number one. And I did that on Friday. And Monday, lo and behold, she's gone. But she did the whole thing. I mean, it's all gone. Oh, and you should hear the glowing commentary, even on Fox News. She broke the glass window or whatever, the glass ceiling. She broke it for women in the news. Oh, what nonsense. That's like saying Eva Braun broke new ground as a woman by living out of wedlock with Adolf Hitler. Come on, give me a break. Broke news. I understand she has a few new offers, Helen Thomas. She's going to apparently been offered to become Erdogan's personal blogger in Turkey. I also heard that she's been offered to come to Iran and write Ahmadinejad's biography, and that she may be going to Venezuela to report on the achievements of the Fourth Reich down there. But we can't confirm or deny any of these possibilities. Now, I also want to talk about Rush Limbaugh's wedding. First of all, I wish him well. Any man in his late 50s who marries a 33-year-old woman, we know one thing. I have a friend who's in his 80s, and he dates women in their 30s. And he said to me, one thing I've learned in life, to thine own self, do not BS. You know, he reversed it. He said, let me put it to you this way. They don't date me for my body. He also happens to be very wealthy. So he's a funny guy. He knows where it's at. So everyone knows it's a gold digger thing. We all know that. That's okay. That's not the first time we've seen a thing like this. The odd part about Limbaugh's wedding was that he would choose Elton John to perform. Now, Rush Limbaugh's come out against gay marriage. Repeatedly come out against gay marriage in order to maintain his creds with the right-wing audience, so to speak, if there is a right-wing audience. I don't quite know if there is one. And so he's come out against gay marriage over and over again. And yet he hires Elton John to sing at his wedding. I found that to be bizarre, and I want to ask you a question. I want to leave it to you, okay? Do you think Rush Limbaugh discredited himself by hiring Elton John to sing at his wedding? And I want to reverse it now. If you are gay or you support gay marriage, do you feel Elton John discredited himself by singing at Rush Limbaugh's wedding? The reason I ask it is this. When I read the news that Elton John had sung at Limbaugh's wedding for $1 million, it leads me to believe that for some media commentators it's just a game. To me, Rush Limbaugh hiring Elton John to sing at his wedding is the equivalent of Keith Olbermann having David Duke perform the service at his wedding. Or Rachel Maddow marrying her girlfriend and having George W. Bush perform the ceremony. Or what if Nancy Pelosi bought lasagna from Mussolini's ravioli shop? Or what if you woke up and read that Paul McCartney got oral surgery from a KKK dentist in Alabama? Or that Chris Matthew would get his few remaining hairs cut by Joran van Vandersloot? Or what if you woke up and read that Jerry Seinfeld was buying kosher bacon in Syria? Or Bill Maher was buying drugs from the Aryan Nation in Montana? Or that Rahm Emanuel was buying bullets from a neo-Nazi reloader in Montana? Or what if you read that Michael Savage was going to get his teeth done by Obama's Kenyan uncle? Or that, what if you read that Nancy Reagan hired Madonna to perform the funeral service for Ronald Reagan? To me, it's the same as me reading Rush Limbaugh hiring Elton John to sing at his wedding. Or what if you woke up one day and you read that, well, Jimmy Carter converted to Judaism and hired Sammy Davis Jr. as a mole? Or that Bill Clinton took on a public vow of celibacy and was officiated by Pope Benedict? Or what if you woke up in the morning and you read that Robert Byrd requested in his will that Clarence Thomas be a pallbearer at his funeral? And not to be outdone, what if Helen Thomas hired Jackie Mason to perform at her great-granddaughter's bat mitzvah in Israel? To me, it's about the same thing as Rush Limbaugh hiring Elton John to sing at his wedding. That's why I say TGIM, it's the Savage Nation. I'm open for business. The phone number is 1-800-449-8255. As you can see, when I opened the show today, I said to you, the Bilderbergers, which I haven't talked about yet, we'll talk about that in a minute. We have the list of those attending the Bilderberg meeting. You don't even know what that is. They are not, let me put this in, the Bilderbergers, although the name sounds Jewish, they're not the enemies of Helen Thomas. That's a very subtle joke. Let's put it this way. Helen Thomas's worldview and that of the Bilderbergers would be the same, and I don't know if their taste in food are the same outside of the hummus. But the fact of the matter is, they're meeting right now somewhere in Spain in the most secretive meeting on earth, and they are allegedly the New World Order. I looked at the list of people at the Bilderberg meeting. Alec Jones got it and published. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. The very same people who brought about the economic collapse that gave us Obama are meeting in Spain, I guess, to scheme up the next thing they're going to do to us in order to turn us into serfs, I think. Anyway, you see where I'm coming from or not? Or you don't know what I'm talking about and you're ready to listen to a ball game. Whatever you want to do, the phone number is 1-800-449-8255. 1. Do you feel Rush Limbaugh discredited himself by hiring Elton John to sing at his wedding? 2. If you are gay or you support gay marriage, do you feel Elton John discredited himself? You see, I wouldn't ask, you didn't think I'd ask that, by singing at Rush Limbaugh's wedding. And how much of talk radio conservative cable shows do you feel is just a show? How much of it is just an act? It's funny how many times I've been interviewed, and you know I've had the big ones. I've had the New Yorker, Playboy, Wall Street Journal. They all ask me the same question. You know, Savage, how much of what you do you really believe in, and how much of it is for entertainment? And I look at them with astonishment and say, you mean just because you don't have any beliefs, you assume I don't? They don't even know how to answer that question because they don't know what the word beliefs means. They don't even understand that some people actually believe what they say. I say what you hear on my radio show is 1/10 of what I actually believe. I said the iceberg beneath me is 9/10 bigger and 9/10 more, let us put it to you this way, more American. To put it the nice way, you know. So there it is. Questions for the Savage Nation. You got the phone number. I gave you the notes. I gave you the comparisons. The weather is nice. People are wonderful, and business is great. Florida's 110 degree, the heat index. I got friends in Florida. They're suffering. It's almost like a biblical plague with boils and frogs and locusts down there right now. I don't know what's coming next. Hurricanes, tornadoes, frogs, locusts. You ever read that stuff in what God inflicted upon the Egyptians for what they did to the ancient Jews? Frogs, plagues, locusts. It's like Miami today. But here in San Francisco, I got to tell you the truth. The people, forget it. They're from hunger. But the weather, the best on earth. The Miwoks gave it up, man. They never should have. All right, maybe they have a Miwok gambling casino today or whatever's left. But the fact is, when you got to mix, you know, if you wake up, if you live near San Francisco Bay, which I'm lucky enough at times to do, I'm like 10 feet from the water. You wake up on a morning and there's fog on the bay and it's lifting. It absolutely is an act of God. It looks like God himself is doing this. It's one of the greatest light shows in the world. There's no movie that can compare to this. And as the fog lifts and it's cool in the morning, you know it's going to be warmer in the afternoon. You go out on your boat. I mean, it's unbelievable to me. So all I can say is I could see why I stay here. People say to me, well, why do you stay there? The answer is because the liberals didn't invent the weather. You understand what I'm saying? And since I am very self-contained and I virtually hang around only with my family and my dog and my boat, And if I go on a boat, I don't even want to talk to people. You don't understand it. Most people think that when you go boating, you're supposed to yak your brains out and sit there with a beer and talk. I refuse to talk on a boat. By and large, I don't talk on a boat. I like to go out alone. I don't go out alone because I can't handle it alone all the time. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. A 40-ton boat alone is not a good idea because if you slip and fall down a companionway, you're dead. You know what I'm saying? You're going to kill somebody, so it's not a good idea. But if you go out and you don't talk, it's a wonder to see what's on the waterways. Just the sound of the water slapping against the hull as you're moving through it. Or watching seagulls teach their young how to dive for fish. Or watching pelicans not coated with oil because Obama hasn't put his hands on the bay yet. Or watching seals give birth to birthing their babies and seeing new generations of seals one year after the other at certain secret spots in the Bay Area. Or watching pelicans dive for fish. It's an amazing thing to watch. Fact of the matter is,